Good morning, everybody. It's Serafina, and I'm here for your daily Tarot and Astro Insight. So the moon is in waxing gibbous right now. She's in Taurus, and it's going to be a full moon in Cancer in 7 days. So perhaps you can look back to what you were doing on the summer solstice, which is exactly 6 months ago, because whatever seeds you were planting 6 months ago could now possibly come to fruition, right? Because the full moon is known to illuminate or to bring things into the light, right? And as I mentioned yesterday, Mercury is going to be going retrograde as of Friday. So we are already in the shadow period over the last weeks. So that's something to take into consideration. Okay, so what messages are there for the collective today? We have adjustment, which is this tarot deck's version of justice. We have the Ace of Swords. And we have the Seven of Swords. It's interesting to note that it's all very, very mental. If we look at this card, adjustment, also blue. Look at all the blue that's here and the swords. So we have a sword here, here, and here. So what does this mean? This card usually comes up when there are certain patterns, like karmic patterns that need to be worked out. It can speak of perhaps like contracts that we're working out. It could be either karmic contracts or literal contracts here on earth regarding things that you have to sign and stuff like that. And so that makes me think of the Mercury retrograde that's coming up. So I would say if you feel that you're making any commitments or signing things or dealing with certain paperwork, be cautious and make sure you read things well, because with this Mercury retrograde, it means that you're probably going to have to come back and revise it, or something is probably not going to fall through. The Ace of Swords speaks of a moment of illumination. It speaks of a breakthrough. It speaks of mental clarity, of like a victory. Look at how it's crowned there with, luminous light, and you have the 2 crescent moons. So the Ace of Swords is mental clarity. So I feel that, if we're referring to certain contracts or certain adjustments that we're going through in our life, we're going to find a moment of luminosity and of clarity right now. This card, the Seven of Swords, is, it says futility. And usually it comes up when we have these self-sabotaging thoughts, like saying like, I would like to do that, or that is something that I'm aiming towards, however, or but. So I feel that, if we're having thoughts that hinder us, or preconceived notions of how things are going to work out, we may have certain clarity around these thought patterns or around something specific that you're going through, and we may need to adjust our preconceived notion of things, our expectations. And I want to go back to the fact that every image here has a sword, and swords are all about mental clarity. It's about discernment. It's about being able to see both sides of something and being able to make an accurate decision from within, right? So I'm going to choose a card from this deck, which is called the Threads of Fate. It's one of my favorite ones. What further guidance is there for the collective today? We have take risk. Take risk. So perhaps tying it back to this one, which is a card of self-sabotage. It's a card where our, you know, our preconceived ideas of how things are going to play out or how we are comes into play, I think it's asking us to take a risk, to maybe find a new way around things. Like, this is very Aquarian thought way of thinking, right? A new way around something, to find a new perspective and then adjust things, balance out the scales, find some element of justice or adjustment to whatever it is that we're dealing with today. I feel like I want to read what's in this book with Take Risk, just to get some further insight. Bear with me. Okay, take risk. Risks are personal to each one of us. To some, climbing a mountain doesn't feel risky. To others, having a conversation with a stranger does. What has been calling to you that you have been afraid to do? Comfort kills growth. It is important that we regularly do things that push the envelope, that make us feel nervous, apprehensive, and uneasy. This card is asking you to take the plunge and to do the thing that intimidates you. Trust that the net will appear after you jump. And then the animal that's associated with this card is the mountain goat, which is interesting because the mountain goat is what represents Capricorn. And we're in the season of Capricorn right now. And so I don't know if you've seen those videos where there's like really, really steep mountains and you see this mountain goat just like, you know, with one focused determination to get to the top of that mountain. So, oh, and we actually see the goat here on the card, right? So the guidance for today, I feel, is for us to adjust certain preconceived notions that we have around things, perhaps looking into certain contracts that we have made externally or internally, because we're going to find some elements of mental clarity, an epiphany, some way of like coming back home and recognizing where we ourselves have been sabotaging ourselves. And with that clarity, we're going to be able to take a risk, to do something that perhaps we hadn't allowed ourselves to do before. Okay, everybody, so I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Share this with your friends if you're finding it useful, and I wish you a very blessed day. Bye.